Game On Magazine is sitting down with Anneke in Midstream, Midrand, as she is part of the South African Proteas bowls team that is currently playing a test series against Malaysia. Anneke, welcome and thank you for joining us. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great. Anneke, let's start off. How did you get involved in bowls?
I started playing when my dad used to go to the club. I used to play, and I basically just went with him. And then the manager of the under 25 and under 19s came to me. He's also a member at our club. He asked me if I would like to join because they need under 19 players. And then I said, okay, I'll try it. And yeah, my dad got me to practice a bit, and then I went to trials, made the team, and just fell in love with the sport.
Well, let's talk about that because, you know, lawn bowls is not considered a sport that youngsters do. And, you know, it's great. I mean, you're 22 now. It's great that you are playing, but what attracts you to the game? Why do you enjoy playing balls?
All the friends I made. I mean, this is it's like a social sport. You're competitive on the green, and afterwards you're friends. You build relationships with people, and it's just nice people. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about then. You know, a lot of guys don't know what lawn bowls is. We've all seen it. We've seen it in movies. We've read about it in books, but we don't really understand. So if you could, as simply as possible, try and describe what lawn bowls is about.
It's basically you get a small white ball, or yellow, and then the first person that has to bowl rolls the ball and determines the length, and then your bowl has a heavier side and a lighter side, so it turns. So your goal is to get as close as possible to the white ball. And you obviously, after they call it, you take grass. It's how wide you play. You take your grass and it bends back. So it's not just straight. You don't just bowl your ball straight to the white ball. It's a little bit more tricky.
So basically, you basically have to get the ball as close to each other. But there's some skill. If the ball is heavier on the one side and not on the other side, then it's basically going to take some. It's basically how good your wrist is, how good you can swing the ball towards the other ball. Is your ball allowed to touch the white ball?
Yes.
Or does it just need to land next to it?
No, it can land next to it. It can touch it. If you touch it, they call it a toucher, and they mark that ball. So if your ball lands in the ditch, there's a ditch at the back of the rink. If your ball lands in the ditch, they don't have to take the ball out. But if your ball lands in the ditch and you didn't touch the white ball, then they have to take it out of play.
Okay, so basically it's almost like if you play snooker or pool and you hit the ball and it doesn't touch anything, then you basically get penalized for it.
Yes.
Okay. Right, well, it's quite interesting. So now you guys are playing against Malaysia now, and we will get the results in later today. But how does it feel to be able to play against other countries and represent South Africa in lawn bowls?
It's a really nice feeling. It's so special to represent your country in something you love. I mean, it's something completely different than to compete with against people from your own country. They play a different game. It's just that step up from what you used to.
And if you had to compare South Africa's lawn bowls to the rest of the world or to whichever countries that you have played against, where do we stand? Are we pretty decent at the sport?
I think we're decent at the moment. We can be better. There is room for improvement. Some of them, like Australia and Malaysia and all them, they play professional. So they're on the green much more than we are, or they practice a lot more than we do. I mean, like Malaysia, they're 8 hours on the green, busy practicing, and we have to go work. We have to come. You have to take your personal time to go practice, and yeah, that just makes them much more accurate at the game.
Now tell me, how do you balance your time? I mean, you just said now that you have to play in your spare time. So what does your training entail? how often are you on the greens training?
I try to be on the green every day. I try to practice at least 2 hours a day, if it's possible. With my exams, it gets a little bit more difficult. Then obviously the time is a little bit less, but I still try and get on the green as most as I can.
Okay. What are the biggest problems that the South African bowling team, what do they struggle with the most? I mean, a big thing is that looking at the facilities, that it generally seems to be an outdoor sport, so weather will play a huge part in it. If it's raining, I don't think you can really play, because you're gonna, or can you?
You can play in the rain. It just depends on the green. If they see the rain it's making or it's damaging the greens, then they call the people off. But otherwise, you can continue playing.
So you can play in whatever weather. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're chatting to you, and you are one of the younger members of the South African team, and the ages vary and it goes quite high. But we're chatting to you because we would like to see a lot more youngsters coming out to play lawn bowls. What would you say to them? What would be your message to somebody who is interested in playing lawn bowls but doesn't know how to do it, is worried that it's considered an older person's sport? What would you say to those people to encourage them to come down and play?
I would tell them it's definitely not an old person's game. It's much more than that. It's a sport for all ages. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can start playing. And there's under 19 tournaments, there's under 25 tournaments, there's a lot of opportunities to play against people your age. And you're not gonna just play against older people. Obviously, some of the older people have the experience, and if you get to play against them, it's nice as well, because they're just as competitive as the younger players. And yeah, that's...
Anneke, thank you so much for joining us at Game On Magazine. It's been a real privilege to sit down and talk with you and to find out a little bit more about a sport that's not really in the minds of youngsters, and you've really given us a great insight into lawn bowls. So thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you all the best in your test series against Malaysia and your future endeavours.
Thank you.